Alrighty, what's going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody is having a lovely evening. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. Alrighty, guys, another day of rejection here at the 9 EMA here on the daily time frame. It is looking like the thing wants to roll over, but we got two scenarios to talk about. All right. So it really just depends on where it's going to go. All right. You're going to break above 585.84, or are you going to break down under 472.41? It's going to be one or the other, but those are your two scenarios. The break of 585.84 brings it all the way up here to the 200 DMA in our, where we broke down from here at 494.49. There's a big spot. All right. You see all of, the battle going on there. Get above here, you really got nothing until up here. That's going to happen pretty quick. That is a $10 move. And on the downside, if you take out this low, without taking out this high, that is not a sign of strength. That is literally you bouncing here in the golden pocket, failing to get the breakout, and then coming back down to make a lower low. You just don't want to see it. But if you can take out 585.84 before you take out 472.41, then you do have this sequence of higher low followed by the higher high. And from that point, we can get a larger bounce going. And we probably, start that move into this area or the 0.618 fib up here, 512.42. But in the short term, that's all we really care about. What are we talking short-term price action? What are the levels? On the upside, break above 480.40. We're paying attention to 483.14 for a reaction. Up there, 485.84. Just set that alert right there. If you get above 485.84, like I said, 200 DMA and 494.49. On the downside, you're watching 477.95. Under there, 476.28. And under there, you have 472.41 up into the 0.618 fib, where you're getting buyers going on over here. All right, and that is going to be at 473.85. Now, if you break under 472.41, like I said, you have a lower low going on after a lower high over here compared to over here. All right. So although, you took out this high right over there, okay, and then you get the higher low over here, but then you couldn't make the higher high. So if you take this out, like that's the scenario, and you're now making new lows. All right. Or you have the odds that you are going to be making new lows. Nail in the coffin, lose 470.50. All right, 470.50, and you're watching 467.01, and then 459.17. But I will just remind everyone, and by the way, this looks like a bear flag. All right, no bias going on here. It just, it is what it is. Just a reminder, you already bounced right off the 0.618 fib. We already know buyers are sitting down here. So if we do make the low, you're going to have a bullish divergence being printed over here on the daily RSI. These points of divergence will have been 1 to 2 weeks apart. All right. And I'm just going to come down to the bear market low. I'm going to point out you had that going on over here. Okay. You had that going on. You can see over here. All right. You made, decently lower lows over here. Another $15 to the downside. And then all in one day, you snap back up, reclaim this low. And then you got a little bounce up here. And then you made a higher low over here, or an equivalent, it's slightly lower. But I will point out, you had that going on over there. And then you got a sick bounce back up to the 200 DMA. I don't know which one of these scenarios is going to be like, but I'll tell you right now, I do know you put in bullish divergence over here. You got some time between these. That was 2 weeks right there. Same thing we would have over here as you're coming down back into the golden pocket. You hit oversold territory on this day right here. Let's just say it happens next week. All right. Let's say on Tuesday, we make the new low. That right there is your 15-day mark. Your 2-week mark is on, Monday if we make that low. So all I'm saying is this is exactly what you had at the bottom of the bear market over here. So people think a crash is going on. People think you're getting a lot more downside. I'm telling you right now, if you see this scenario, expect to go lower here, but it's going to print that bullish divergence just like it did over here. And then you get bought up. All right. And then you start really building something out here. That is how that would go. Okay. That is what we would be looking at. But I will point out over here in this scenario, it took time to carve out that bottom. All right. You had a lot of volatility to go off of. I do think in this scenario, the Mag 7 stocks, those are going to be getting, deeper bounce over here. But here on the indices, we very well could, take some time here to build out a constructive bottom before really just pushing back up to all-time highs. We're not too far off of all-time highs at this point. And if you go a little bit lower, all right, you take out that, you put in the bullish divergence, you're going to get a bounce like that. All right. And so what? It can happen from 459.17 down there, which is $8 lower, right? But that is the next support if you take out 467.01. So that is QQ. That's what we're paying attention to. Those are the two scenarios. Still haven't tested the 21. Still have not tested the 200 from the downside, like from below. Still have not done so. So you're going to pop up here, go like that. Maybe you reject and come down here, or you would go up here. Maybe you reject and come back down here, or you do something like this. All right. Or you're not going to do any of that. You're going to take out 472.41 right here. You're going to come down here, maybe slightly undercut that support, and then you get a bounce into this area right there. Okay. And that right there, that is your 9% move that you could be taking advantage of, 8 to 9%. So that is on QQQ. We're going to come over here to SPY. I am going to point out, QQ and SPY, they are in these bear flag like structures here, and SPY started to break down from that today, and you were actually just back testing it. I don't know if this is going to hold. We've had a very trappy market, so I'm honestly not sure over here. Okay. But I will definitely say right now, you did break down. You are retesting that trend line here from below. And as we could see, we just kept rejecting these 15-minute, people think it's, it don't work. I'm telling you, it is as simple as I make it look like right here. You get above the 15-minute moving averages, good things happen. Okay? You could play the upside intraday. You get below, you don't play the upside intraday. All of these times, you're going to be expecting rejection until proven otherwise. Why? Because that is what happens most of the time. Like, you see how buyers are stepping in at these things? Okay, well, what happens the whole way down? Rejection, rejection. 1, 2. Okay, you got back above it, but you couldn't get above the 21. Rejection, 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 rejection. And you came down to new lows. All right, rejection, rejection. Like, it's really as simple as that. And I don't think anybody needs to overcomplicate things. I really do not. All right, but over here in SPY, guys, if you pop above 467.21, you're watching 560, not 467. You pop above 567.21, you're watching 569.71, and above there 572.25, which is where that 200 is sitting at. And we just, got ever so close over here, but we did not do it. Okay, we did not test the 200. I'm still going to say, it's more likely than not over here, in my personal opinion, that we are going to test that. And I'm just going to point out the weekly chart. All right, guys, if you close out like this, after this, you're probably going to get a bounce. And then, I'm going to point out something like NVDA over here. Lower wick, lower wick, lower wick, lower wick. It looks like a rounded bottom to me. And, I just don't think if you close out here where you are right now, 118.50 or higher, you're going to have a bullish look still maintained over here on the weekly time frame. And then you come down to the daily time frame. We already know how things are looking. I know we got a bunch of levels that we'll go over them when it's NVIDIA's turn over here. But, same time, this is very likely just going to be a higher low before you take out 122.89. You have things like this looking like this. You have things like this looking like that. All right. You got the bullish divergence. You've been oversold for, quite some time now. That's over 3 weeks. You've just been chilling down there. You hit oversold territory quite some time ago. You've just been chilling. You have Google looking like this with the bullish divergence. But then you have something like Meta. All right. And Meta over here, guys, I think you're probably going to undercut this low. Ideally, you undercut this low. I'm just going to say, okay. I don't know what the thing wants to do, but I'll tell you right now, ideally, you're going to undercut that low. You're going to test that 200 DMA over there. That is the ideal scenario for Meta. But then you got things like Tesla over here, all right, basing out. You have, like I pointed out, NVDA over there, and then you have Microsoft doing a little of this thing over here. Okay, you just broke out this falling wedge pattern, but you got a lot of consolidation going on here. You have a lot of compression going on, and then consolidation at the bottom of that compression pattern with the bullish divergence here on the daily RSI. Like all of the components suggesting that. I don't think we're going much lower than this, but I'm definitely open to it. And that's why, you know, I pointed that out on QQQ. We're open to it. You take out the 472.41 level, you're going lower. So let's talk about the levels over here in SPY. What are you paying attention to? Like I said, you have this trend line. Get above 567.21, 569.71, 572.25. On the downside, if you break underneath 564.02, you're talking 561.63. No, not 561.63. My magnet wasn't on. Underneath 564.2, you're talking 562. And then we're talking 559.11. If you come back, same scenario as QQQ, like that's your previous low over here. You don't want to take this out. So at that point, you're probably going to come back down here to 554.87. And if you cannot hold there, come back down to take out the lows. I'm sorry, guys, but that is just how it would be. Again, no bias TA over here. You know, if you don't want to hear it, you don't want to hear it. You probably should hear it. If it's not something you want to hear, then you probably should open your ears to it. Be open-minded about it, because that's where you get blindsided in the market. All right, but as far as the daily chart goes, guys, still the same thing as QQ. You're just like getting a lot of selling going on over here, right around this upper level, which in this case is 569.71. You're still right below that 200, right below the 21 over there. And you have that rising wedge pattern going on / bear flag. It's something to point out. The next thing I'm going to point out over here is VIX. Another rejection. This is the second rejection ever since we got underneath the 22 level over there, as well as the 21 EMA. This is the second rejection of the short-term moving averages. You know, I know SPY sold like a decent amount and QQ sold over 1% from the high. They both did. I understand. But then you also had VIX closing out near the low. So I'm just saying. VIX directly is correlated to SPX's calls and puts being bought and sold. And this thing, as the indices sold off a little bit from the highs, quite a bit there, VIX also did too, which tells you a story. Tells you less puts are being bought than calls over here. Like as the market was moving down, you'd expect this thing to start, you know, if that thing's closing, all right, near the low of day, not near the high. You normally would expect VIX to close up near the high. It would be somewhere over here, you know, above $20, 2060, 2070, but it wasn't. We'll see what happens over here. Immediately, you get risk off. You take up, you know, a move over here above 2204 and then wait for the, you know, to lose it again. Well, like I said, if you take out the low, you're going to put in that daily bullish divergence, and that's when you get a snapback, like a major bottom being put in. Like I pointed out at the bottom, it could take time to develop, but that's what would be here. All right. So those are SPY and QQ. We went over a little VIX on IWM, guys. Just watch 2A84. Get above 2A84. You're probably going to get a straight move up to 213.97, then 217.37, which is around that 200 DMA. You got this downsloping trend line that's going to come into play over there as well. On the downside, you're talking 203.75. Break that. 201.99. 199.34, and then 196.70. Again, you take out that low, bullish divergence is definitely going to be there over there on the daily RSI. Your weekly chart really still isn't looking all that bad to me. Break and retest going on over here. Weekly hammer / dragonfly doji, followed by a green week. We'll see how this closes. Really not all that bad. All right. Those are your indices. And now we're going to start going over these Mag 7 stocks. I'm going to point out, you know, I'm going to be very brief over here with these guys. I'm just going to run quickly through them. You have the bullish divergence over here on the daily RSI. If you pull back down, test that 200. That's probably where you get buyers stepping in. But in reality, you will see when this thing really starts getting buyers, when this thing really wants to have a big move, it's going to break above the 21 here. It's going to break above that white line. And you're going to, look at that. You're going to at least test it. You might get rejection up here. You might pull back, and then you might go for it. Just like you did right here. You tested it, pulled back, you went like that. Okay, you really just have to wait for these things. You have to, you know, if you want to get a clean move, you're gonna wait for them. But I'm gonna tell you right now, holy fake out today. Broke above our trend line over here that's been respected for quite some time, and you had the false breakout. All right, so your support over here, you're right on it. 586.87 underneath there. We're talking 580, then 574.66, and at that point, I think you're gonna undercut the low and test that 200. Maybe start coming down, maybe 565 to 570. We'll see if we got buyers around there, because if not, 550. On the upside, 592.32, 598, and then above there, you're probably going to come back up and test 608.86. Now, if you test that again, you're probably going to break it, break 613.10, and then you finally run to 620. We'll see about the zone up here. Baby steps. Take it as you go. This market it's pretty ruthless, okay? It's pretty, you know, just the whipsaw action is pretty freaking crazy. You can see what's going on. 30-point move. You gave back 25 of the 30 points. What the heck is that? All right, so just acknowledge what environment you are in right now. And, you know, if you're going to get frustrated at what you're doing, then just don't do it. Okay, sit back. You don't have to trade right now if you're going to, you know, get frustrated at it. If, you know, if that's where your head's at right now, you don't got to do it. You really don't. All right, nobody's telling you to pull triggers over here. And I'm telling you, if you wait, you probably are going to have a much easier market. Probably in, like, you know, we're going to say 2 weeks from now. We'll see what happens. Like, if you take out that low, you start then getting your bounce. Odds are, yeah, the bounce is probably going to stick. You're going to have these daily bullish divergences on the indices. All of them at that point will have the bullish divergences. People, it's the bottoms. When you see these, we've seen them before. People don't want to acknowledge it. And then it starts just having a face ripper rally and pushes back up near highs and retraces the whole move. Don't want to, they don't want to acknowledge these things. Like, you had it over here, but, you know, big tell is when you have multiple indices having these bullish divergences, probably about to get a snapback rally. Building out the divergences, got the snapback rally. Let's see if you had it over here on QQ. You did not have it over here on QQQ. You did not. Okay. But if I'm remembering correctly, yeah, I guess it was the same over there. All right, but, you know, right there, you had divergence on 3 out of the 4 major indices over there as you came into key spots. And that is what we like to see. Okay? All right. Come back over to Microsoft. Break above 391. I mean, the level we were paying attention to is 394.25, but you could see, you know, that was today's high, 391.79. You know, real talk, if you can get above 394.25, that's above the 21, then you probably are securing a move up to 405.57 or 410.29. On the downside, we'll just come over here, the hourly time frame, and we'll just go over these things. In the short term, above 387.92, you're watching 391.79 and 394.25. On the downside, you have 384.64, 381.10, and 376.91. That's what you got going on over here. That's what you're cooking. On the upside of Tesla, guys, you have 240.42. Above there, 251.84. That remains our key level. If you break above there, you probably start a clean move up to 271, and then you're going to have the 200 sitting up here, so you're probably going to test 285. That would be that. On the downside, though, you keep finding buyers off this level. You know, it ain't got to be perfect, guys, but we can clearly see this is spot being respected here. If you start to break and hold underneath it, if you get a break and a retest off of it, you can't reclaim it right away, you're probably coming down to 220, 228, and at that point, make the new low, 217.02 incoming, and then 212.11, and maybe 202. Apple, how are we looking over here? Broke down from that bear flag that's been building out for a whole week now. All right, whole week. You've been building that bad boy out. You finally broke down from it. We're going to have to see how this goes, but, you know, on it's looking pretty hairy over here on the daily time frame. And if you start breaking under this level right over here, 211.49, probably going to start breaking down and testing 209.97, 208.42. And at that point, let's come back over the daily time frame. Really have nothing in between here and down here. Now, if we see these things, this could happen in the span of a few days here. Okay, we've seen it before. Let's just see over here. 2 days. You fell $18. Okay, let's just say over here, Where is that? That's $16. So if we get some real ugly, new lows over here, and Apple makes it back down to this level right here at 198.23, major break and retest level. In reality, we can watch this level right there. Okay. We'll just go like that. We're going to go like this. Go like that. In reality, though, more like that. You can see the wick came all the way down here, right? So anywhere in this area, which is 195 to 199, you expect those buyers to step in there. And you expect them, you're at the 0.618 fib as well. In the weekly RSI, it's going to be lower than it was over here. Could even get back down here. And again, this was your 2022 bottom. Like, people don't want to acknowledge what's happening right now. And you're getting so oversold that you are, you're pushing the whole move you had throughout 2022. You're getting the whole correction right now. And I'm not saying we don't go lower after this next bounce. Like, if it goes lower and then it bounces and it bounces back here, I'm not saying you don't go lower, but like, you're going to get some sick, nasty bounces here. It's going to surprise people. And I don't think we're starting, like, if we get this scenario where you come back down, I don't think you're starting no bear market. All right. Like, you got a key break and retest going on. I'm not saying you get back up to the highs. Like, don't expect it, just to keep falling off a cliff. It's probably not. Like, you're going to, if you come down here, let's just mark it out. You come down, hit this spot on the weekly RSI, 5 points lower. If you get this $18 move down, you're going to be there. And then you get that bounce. You come down for a new low. At that point, you put in a major bottom. And you get some very sick, nasty moves over the coming months. There's your easy money market. And that's what I was saying. If you are frustrated right now, you just don't trade. All right? Preserve your capital and wait for the easy money environment. Wait on it. It's going to come. You just got to be patient. All right? But those are my thoughts on Apple. The only thing that changes this bearish scenario is if you can break above 219.38, get a daily close above 219.38, you probably are going to test this 200 around 228. All right? But first stop after that is going to be 224.22. All right? Above 219.38. Amazon, you're still underneath that level we talked about, 201.20. All right? You got to move into, the 9 and the 200 today. You found more rejection. You got the daily bullish divergence on. Again, weekly RSI, you're already back down to the low over here. Now, this thing, it's looking pretty hairy. You're underneath the 200, but you got under there over here as well. All right, you did. I do think this thing is probably going to test this 215.90 level on this bounce, but you got to wait until 201.20. So let's go over the short-term levels for you. 195.75, break that. 198.57, break that. 201.20, that's your big spot. On the downside, break under 193.04. You're probably going to revisit these, lows near 190.88. I imagine you're going to fall a little bit lower. That's Amazon. Come over to Goog. What do we got on the upside, guys? We have 165.31. Above there, 168.46. Above there, 170.45, which is our big level. All right, right over here, you're going to be testing the 21. You're going to expect rejection automatically, but if you get the daily close above that level, not looking too bad. You probably do make your way up to 176.90 where you have this 200 sitting at. And on the downside, what are we paying attention to, guys? 163.24, underneath there, 161.12, and then 158.80. And at that point, could very well come down to this level over here at 156.60. But again, like all of these other Mag 7 stocks, you have the daily bullish divergences. Like I'm telling you guys, if you take out these lows, you're going to have them on the indices as well. This is where major bottoms. I don't know why I said major twice. It's just a major bottom. Okay, you got the minor lows, you got the major lows. That's where these get put in. And you have all of these building out. They took time. You have a fear-driven market right now. It is max fear. That is what this looks like. If you take out these lows, like you're still in that condition. You put in your bottoms through fear. On the upside, 119.31, break above there. You're watching 120.45. Okay. And then if you can get above there, you couldn't today. You get above there, 122.89. That's the key level to break. And then you have a move up to 127.67. On the downside, 117.74 break leads to 117.74 break leads to 116.47 and then 115.14. That opens the door to 113.22. And if you do that, that's looking pretty hairy. Okay? That is all you're paying attention to, okay? You don't want to lose 113.22. That is a key zone right here that we reclaimed. It took some time. You got above it, you retested it. You got above it again, you retested it again. You found buyers, so it's a strong zone. You break it, 113.22, bad things can happen, okay? And also, you're right here at the 21, finding sellers. If you can get above 122.89, probably get a straight shot up to where this 200 is at 127.67. That is a key spot. All right, guys. So as far as SMH goes, break above 230.80, you're bullish. Okay, break underneath 223.78, you're bearish. Probably coming down to the golden pocket. That's all you got to do. Okay, above 230.80, 237, and then probably 241 over there, 0.618 fib. Break under 223, you're going timber. INTC, guys, see that green dot? That's the key level that we are paying attention to, 23.34. That's where you got all these reactions going on. That's where you have the short-term moving averages. And ideally, you find buyers here off of the 200 MA. And you can push back up here. If you push back up here now for the third time, you're probably going to break it. All right. And there's not really quadruple bottoms or tops. So let's say you push back up here the third time, you pull back, and then you test it again, then you know it's gone. All right. So that's a setup that if it appears, all right, if it presents itself, you can take advantage of. Avgo over here, guys, I'm just going to say a lot of things do look like they're in bear flags, but at the same time, we also know bases at bottoms, they look very similar. So that is something to note. But at the end of the day, you got to break above 199.98, and then you can start heading up here to 211.11, and then 219.51. But we're not even going to talk about that because it's not happening yet. Underneath 185.16, you have 177.61. And again, you've been finding buyers around the 200 over here. It's compressing over here. You're going to get your next big move. If it's the downside, you have a bullish divergence being put in. SMCI, just consolidating over here. I'm not going to say this is like a really clear chart to read. It's just not. It's quite volatile. And, even on, indices over there, at least you're going to respect a lot of levels here. You're kind of doing a whole bunch of nonsense. Above 41.31. 44.99, and then 50.61. Underneath 37.85, you have 34.98. Break that, 30.76. TSM, all right, showing the strength of the chips over here, guys. And you've been in oversold conditions here for 2 to 3 weeks on pretty much every ticker we just looked at, besides Meta. I don't know what to tell people. I don't really want to try and tell people. I don't want to talk about it. I'll just kind of come on here, do my thing, point out what the odds are favoring every day, and every week we'll go into the weekly update like that. Like, people want to argue on Twitter. Guys, I don't care. I don't care about, I genuinely don't care about people's opinions on Twitter. I'm sorry. I don't care about your opinion. Why? Because I'm just putting out what I see on the charts and what I know are odds. If you have something that's, logical, I gladly will listen, okay? And, we're here to win this market. And, this market's very tricky. I also tell a lot of people, like, I had the Tesla thing. I still don't understand how people are just looking at Elon Musk as this evil person. Like someone mentioned something about Hitler, about his Hitler thing. Guys, this is someone who's just a goofball. He waved, okay? So, like, his heart, he was trying to put his heart out to people, and people are still like, oh, I can't believe you overlook, Henry, the Nazi thing. Are you freaking kidding me? Use common sense, dude. Do not tell me you actually think like this. Please tell me it's a joke, because it makes no sense. But we're not going to talk about that because apparently people don't like my viewpoint on that. And, I don't share no political views. I wouldn't call it a political view. I'm just going to say people want to bury their head in the sand. Like, hey, you're not using your critical thinking skills, and you got to develop those critical thinking skills. There's nothing bad that can come out of this. There's nothing bad. I understand the market's doing this and people are mad. But no, there's people that just genuinely hate Elon Musk, and I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea why that exists. People think he's genuinely trying to take money from the people. What the heck are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? Why would he be trying to do this? It's building a legacy. It's the whole thing that's trying to happen right now. They're genuinely trying to help America. It makes no sense to me what people think about this stuff. It makes no sense to me. But hey, all right, good people will have different opinions. We can agree to disagree. At the end of the day, if you're a good person, I don't freaking care what your opinion is. All right. I respect you. You're a good person. You're a genuine person, genuine Genuinity is a rare commodity in this world. All right. You know, I love talking to you genuine people. I just want you to know that. And you know you are if you are. Okay? Like, you know, I may be a dickhead if you're a dickhead to me, but I'll tell you right now, I'm one of the most genuine dudes I know. And I am proud of that. And you know, pride sucks. You don't want to have, you know, all that pride. Pride will, you know, pride is what hurts your ego. Pride is, you know, all that bad stuff. At the end of the day, I am prideful about how genuine I try and be. Okay? Break above 178.05. Probably going to push up to the 200 over here by 184.74. If you break this range to the downside, bad things happen. You have a flush. All right? Underneath 170.79. Next support, you know, you got this little level over here. Okay? Yeah, we'll call it there. Okay, you get this level at 163.10, but then you have 156.01 underneath. This is a pretty big move. Okay, that could take place. All right, guys. So that is pretty much what I got for you this video. I'll just point out MSTR over here. All right, you had the falling wedge breakout. It's going to go off of Bitcoin over here. If you could break this trend line, get above 90.7K. I've been calling out this level. You got to get above it. And then good things going to happen over here for the miners and these Bitcoin stocks. Something like coin over here, you just kind of consolidate over here around support. At some point, these are going to snap back. And, you know, MSTR over here, it's definitely got the strength. So, you know, if you're playing the Bitcoin stocks, that's where you're paying attention to. I'll just point out some, you know, setups that if the market wants to do its thing and QQ wants to pop above 485 there, if it wants to do it, boom, these are probably going to be taking a move. Above 58.51, get the daily close above there. You're going to be getting above this 21. You got rejection, 3 candles in a row. Rejection, again, 3 candles. And rejection. If you can finally get above it, that's your change of character. But if you come down to a new low and test this 200 over here, it's going to probably have a bullish divergence sitting there. And that's also, you know, next buy spot over there would be at the 200. All right, so you got the breakout setup if you get daily close over here, or you got, you know, buy the dip setup over here, or you could short right here and risk right here and go down over there. I'm trying to do these videos without bias, all right? I genuinely am. Because, you know, this market is pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And you got to acknowledge what kind of environment you're in. Come over here, Kava, all right? This thing has been beaten down to a pulp. Like, real talk, this thing, you know, for a while, this whole run, it just wasn't doing that. Okay, it was not getting oversold over here. You finally started getting oversold over here. But I'm still going to say this thing isn't a downtrend. It had a massive move down with no relief. Okay? So if you come up here, expect rejection at the 21. But if you can get above it with the daily close, expect to move up to 98.69. You're going to have the 200 sitting up here on that 110.31 resistance, which it was support. Was support. It's not anymore. Okay. 110.30. What else we got, guys? We got Uber. Uber is the one showing strength today. Uber got the breakout from the falling wedge yesterday. You got the fall through today, and you got the daily close above 73.55. I think it's probably heading up to 76.40, 77.74, and above there, 81.25. That is what I'm looking for over here on Uber. If you lose the 73.55 level, all bets are off. You're coming down to the 200. Ideally, you know, you hold the 269.58. And then you have to wait to break back above this level for this thing to start moving up here. That's what I got for you over there. Netflix got the downtrend break. You're consolidating three candles over here of rejection. Right underneath, you know, previous support flipped into resistance, 964.38. Get the daily close above. Good things can happen up to 999. 1,000. PLTR, it's gonna, you know, similar scenario over there to NVDA. You got kind of just these lower wicks going on here. And no matter how you close out this week, as long as you don't crap the bed tomorrow and close out, like, we'll say underneath like 85, if you close above 85, you're going to have a nice lower wick going on here. Like, this is just looking constructive. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You also got this inverse head and shoulders pattern, just like NVIDIA. You got a left shoulder, you got a head, you got a right shoulder. And it was making with the, you know, higher low over there. Come over here to PLTR. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. You still can't break above this high over here. We're waiting on it. You didn't get the daily close. We were watching this level originally right here, 88.82. We were looking for a daily close above there, and it was going to spark the move up to 95.80 and then 99.32. You didn't get it. All right. And I'm just going to put the zone right here. All right. So you didn't get that, and that's fine. But if you can't break above 90.48, all right, that is when you don't really have overhead resistance until over here, and you're very clearly above the 21 EMA, which is where you've been finding these sellers at. Looking good over here. This is one with strength. You had increasing volume on the day. I'm liking it. Last one I'm going to mention over here is Hood. All right, this is showing relative strength over here. I know you are selling right here, slight upper wick off the 21 there. That is where you're going to be expected sellers at these short-term moving averages. But as we could see, we're trying to drag ourselves up here. And just like PLTR over there, the weekly chart don't look all that bad. They really do not. You had a hammer candlestick put in, and now you're getting, that fall through the following week as confirmation. Things really not looking bad at all. I'm going to be completely honest. Hood is probably going to be getting a snapback. All right, guys. Over others. Of course, everything is probably going to do so, but we can clearly see this one is showing strength over others as of today. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace.